All right, how's it going, Jitlets? Today I lost $5,200 day trading both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. As you can see right here, the first trade that we took was on NASDAQ. I ended up losing around $6,600. And then right after that, I ended up taking another trade on the S&P 500 where I took one take profit, and this is super unfortunate because it really pisses me off. I would have had a positive day if my full take profit had been hit, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. But anyways, one of our take profits got hit, which made us around $1.4 thousand, and then the rest got closed out at break even. We lost around like $100 on that, stopping ourselves out at break even. Okay, so let's get into the trades that I took for the day and how we even got there in the first place. Let's go ahead and start off on NASDAQ today. We had a no news Monday. We can go ahead and see that there was literally no news for us today except for people speaking at 1 p.m. and people speaking at 6 p.m. Not going to affect our trades. However, it being a no news Monday affected our trades. As we can see, very, very slow, pretty sloppy price action coming into this Monday. So we'll start off on how I found my daily bias. We'll start out on the high time frame. Let's take all these drawings off. During pre-market, we didn't really have much in terms of 4-hour draws on liquidity or imbalances. We had this 4-hour imbalance right here, which I was able to narrow down a little bit more so on the hourly time frame into an hourly imbalance, but we had a 4-hour imbalance, a 4-hour low, and then these 4-hour highs all the way up here, but I didn't even bother marking those out because they just seemed way too far out from... Wow, I'm brain dead. Way too far out from where price opened at. So moving down into the 1-hour time frame, we again don't really have much here except for this 1-hour fair value gap, this 1-hour fair value gap up here, these 1-hour highs, and these 1-hour lows. These 1-hour lows were made once market opened, which is why I marked this out. We can actually get rid of this. That was for when I was looking for a potential other trade to be taken, and instead I ended up taking it on ES. So let's get into this losing trade now that we have all of our confluences marked out. Again, I'm really just waiting for these confluences to get pushed into and then to see reactions out of it. So coming into pre-market, we were already within this hourly imbalance, but we had yet to see a reaction. So we get a quick little move up. We don't hit that hourly imbalance, but we get a reaction, and we actually still close underneath and within this hourly imbalance. So with that in mind, we start to see reactions to the downside. I see reactions, and I'm like, okay, this is looking pretty valid. We actually end up breaking 5-minute structure right here, which added even more to that bias for me. Okay, we see a break of structure right here at around 9:40. From there, I wait for that 5-minute retrace. We get that 5-minute retrace of a candle to the upside. From there, I scale down to the 1-minute time frame. And within that 5-minute retrace, we were actually filling 1 minute continuation confluences, which in this case was a 1-minute fair value gap. We can see right here it got filled while we were moving up within that 5-minute time frame, or on that 5-minute time frame. We move up, we fill in this one minute imbalance, and as you guys can see, we don't end up breaking 1-minute structure back to the upside within this leg up on the 5-minute. So I wasn't really looking for a break of structure on the 1-minute because we were already in a downtrend. You get me? So I was really just looking for, hey, where are my confluences? I saw the 5-minute retrace. We are within a highly executionable time frame. I'm ready to go. From there, we see this candle coming down. We actually low-key get, even though we didn't need a break of structure, and even though we hadn't broken structure to the upside, we closed underneath this low right here, which was actually a higher low. So that for me, I was like, okay, we got this shit. Ended up entering here right around 9:50, so that was within the macro. My stops were above these 1-minute highs right here because that was what my trade was based off of the fair value gap getting filled and rejected out of, so I wanted to put it above these highs. First take profit was based off of these hourly lows right here, which we see afterwards were used very well. And then last take profit was set based off of, I believe these were 4-hour lows, or no, these were actually hourly lows. These are 4-hour lows and these were hourly lows. But none of them ended up getting hit. I ended up getting stopped out after around 15 to 20 minutes. At around 10:05. Okay, so after like 15 minutes on the dot, ended up getting stopped out. What could I have done better on this? This is, I had a undefeated week last week. I made like 60K. So let's talk about what I could have done better. Let's not get overconfident here, and let's break down some things that I could have done better. I think the main and most important thing was this confluence that we used to take this trade off of was fairly weak. We had already been within it during pre-market. We had already made an up candle into it, and then following that up candle during pre-market, we get legs down, and then after that we get significant legs up, and then yes, we do still close within this hourly imbalance, but we failed to fill this hourly imbalance up here. And for me, I just wish we had filled this hourly imbalance. I would much rather have the confluence that I take my trade off of not be hit during pre-market. I'm not saying that this is going to happen for every single trade, but I'm saying I would prefer trades and confluences, especially my high time frame confluences, to not be hit during pre-market and be hit right when market opens instead. And as we can see, if I had just waited for our high time frame confluence that hadn't been hit during pre-market, instead for a confluence to get hit during market open, this would have been a much better trade, and we actually would have hit every single take profit. Take profits were super strong. I think as I'm, again, developing as a trader, you guys are seeing it in front of your eyes. I'm a much better trader than I was a year and a half ago, and hopefully you guys are seeing me develop as I'm continuously making content for you guys. But I'm becoming a better trader. I'm also becoming a better teacher at this shit for you guys, for the free content, for the mastermind students, which is really awesome. But taking a trade off of a confluence that has already been interacted with during pre-market, probably not the best move, because we know right when market opens, it's going to seek out an imbalance or a draw on liquidity to be able to fill the orders that it wants to get filled in order to make the move for the day. So I think that was the main thing that I was really missing on this. Got a little bit too antsy. It was a no news Monday as well. I definitely should have been more on the rails about taking a trade today, rather than trying to get like a little bit more ambitious with the shit. Even though this was a relatively valid trade entry, I think waiting a bit more, being way more cautious because we barely missed this hourly imbalance, and taking the trade just based off of this hourly imbalance that was already interacted with during pre-market. Like, I should have known based off of seeing, okay, we pushed into it, no reaction out of it. And it, like, literally this imbalance was pretty much barred useless because we push into it and then there's just nothing happening within this imbalanced price range. Nothing is happening, right? Like, we just stayed within this imbalanced price range for the entire time during pre-market, and there was no reaction. That alone should have signaled to me that this is not really a valid imbalance to be wanting to take a trade off of, and in turn that would have helped me not take this losing trade. However, we did take a loss, but we learned some things from it. As we can see, the take profits were set pretty solid. I think in terms of take profits, we all know how that shit goes. We're just going to be using high time frame draws on liquidity and high time frame imbalances, and we can see that those are still holding well. So that kind of covers our loss. How I honestly wish that I went about this today literally would have just been off of this hourly imbalance, maybe wait for that 5-minute break of structure, wait for this 5-minute retrace, and then scale down a little bit into the 1 minute once we get that 5-minute retrace. So this is that 5-minute retrace. Simply just wait for a 1-minute break of structure, and then maybe a fair value gap getting filled. We don't really see that, so damn, I would have had to wait all the way over here. So that's at around 11:40. I wouldn't even be willing to take a trade over here at that point. This, in my eyes, very well should have been a no trade day. But of course, I took a trade, so gonna have to live with it. Anyways, let's go into the S&P 500 trade that I ended up taking. This, unfortunately, was not the best trade either. as you guys know, I only made 1.4K on this and was only able to cut my loss down by like $1,000 and a couple $100 because I de-risked on this trade because I was already had already lost money on NASDAQ. And again, I was knowing and understanding that, hey, today's a no news Monday, but I did think that sell-side liquidity had to be taken out today, and I was correct on both NASDAQ and ES. I knew that we wanted to take out sell-side liquidity for today. I just knew that that was going to happen. So I did want to take this trade because that had not happened yet within current price action, and price action was moving pretty sloppily. I thought that we could get some more volume, which we ended up getting later in the day. So on ES, let's break this down really quick. Oops. Bit of a similar situation, except on the 4-hour time frame, we literally had like nothing except for like these 4-hour lows and these 4-hour highs. We ended up making this 4-hour imbalance after that 10 a.m. Candle closure. Okay, on this candle, that's when this candle closed at 10 a.m. So again, it was pretty in line with that hourly imbalance that I had already marked out. So I figured I don't really need to mark that out again. Okay, on top of that, in terms of hourly draws, we have these hourly highs, these hourly lows. We ended up making these hourly lows, which served as my take profit 1 after that 10 a.m. Candle had closed, moved down, then a move up on this candle. So this turned into a draw on liquidity. And then we had this hourly imbalance right here. We also had these hourly lows down here. I really didn't think that price was going to be able to get all the way down here, especially with how slow price is moving. But hey, look, it happened. So now that we have all of these drawn out, let's go into how I executed. So again, the main thing that I was looking for is just 5-minute. We're looking for reaction. So the first thing that I saw was, hey, we pushed into this hourly imbalance. Okay, that's pretty cool. Push into the hourly imbalance, and look, we already get a move down, and then we get a 5-minute retrace on up. So this was at around 9:35, and if we look at the 1-minute time frame, not much to take a trade off of within here. I saw this, and I was like, this price action is literally disgusting. We got candles opening in gaps. No fair value gaps are getting made. This is not clean price action whatsoever. And that also leads me to why this was a honestly fairly horrible trade, if I do say so myself. Even though we won this trade, I think I can be completely honest, this was a horrible trade. Even though I knew where market wanted to go, I should have stayed out of the market. But anyways, the main reason for me staying out of this was like, yes, we do get that 5-minute candle down after filling in that hourly imbalance, and then we get a 5-minute retrace, whatever. This price action is just horrible on the 1-minute time frame. But then, following all of that, we actually end up making an hourly high. Okay, we have a move up, then a move down, so we end up making an hourly high, which is another draw on liquidity. Again, so that's something that a lot of you guys need to keep in mind is, as price is developing, I made a couple TikToks on this, as price is developing and creating new price actions such as draws on liquidity and imbalances, especially on the high time frames, we need to take that into account because now this is a draw on liquidity, now this is a draw on liquidity. We need to know these things. On top of that, now this 4-hour imbalance is a draw on the high time frame. Okay, so when that high got formed, I was like, okay, let's see what happens. We could potentially come back up and sweep it, and that's exactly what happened. We come up, we end up sweeping out that, okay? We do get candle down, and then we get that 5-minute retrace, but within that 5-minute retrace, we obviously close back above these 5-minute highs. So I'm like, all right, not necessarily valid just yet, okay? And then from there, we get another 5-minute leg down, and I was still qualifying this as a potential liquidity sweep. So we see these 5-minute legs down, and then we see another 5-minute retrace. So from there, I scaled down into the 1-minute time frame, and as you guys can see, within this 5-minute retrace, there was no 1-minute entry points. But within this 5-minute retrace that we had on up within here, we were already within a 1-minute downtrend, and again, Do not take notes on this. I'm just trying to explain why, the reasoning why I took this trade. This is a ass cheat. This is literally ass. This is an ass trade. Don't listen to what I'm saying right now. I'm just trying to explain my thought process. Listen to how I could have done better. Because today was an ass trading day. Okay? Don't take notes on how to take a trade like this. Even though I won, this was an ass trade. Okay? Anyways, the 1 minute time frame was still within a downtrend, and we made that 5 minute retrace. And for me, I was like, okay, we're in a downtrend on the 1 minute. Like, I'm really just fucking waiting to get an entry now or a continuation confluence on the 1 minute. And somehow, some fucking way, I justified these highs down to these lows getting hit. And obviously we push up and hit equilibrium. Let me try and draw this out. We obviously push up and we hit equilibrium. And then we get this down candle out of it. I entered after that down candle, ended up getting a pretty generous fill up here. Shout out to my broker for that with the negative spreads. If you guys want negative spreads, there was a little link in the bio for that. But got a generous fill a little bit higher than where this candle closed. And had stops above these highs right here. I thought that just made sense. And again, I got really fucking lucky. If I had placed my stops above these highs, I, boom, would have lost money for the day. Would have lost more money for the day instead of making it so I, wow. Instead of making it so I made less. As you can see, I'm an idiot. But anyways, we entered here, stops above these highs, we push up here, and then when I see that leg up after we had freaking barely missed these hourly lows, I was pretty much kicking myself saying, why the fuck would I have even entered into a trade here? And that is exactly what all of you guys should be saying. This was literal butt cheek, spread work, tongue, through the crevice, swirl it around on the hole. Maybe even a tongue plunger, okay, type of trade. Nobody wants a tongue plunger. Nobody wants a fucking tongue plunger. I can tell you that much. But somehow, some way, take profit one gets hit without me getting stopped out. And then, unfortunately, I mean, this was honestly just fucking karma for how ass of a trade this was. Look at what happens, bro. Literally on the fucking dot, I get stopped out at break even. And then price continues down to hit take profit 2. If take profit 2 got hit, I probably still would have ended up for a loss on the day because I de-risked on this trade. And take profit 1 was really ass. Not even a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. I mean, as you guys saw, I only made 1.4K. So overall, the trades today were fucking ass. Don't listen to what TJR has to say. In terms of improvement, plain and simple, why the fuck was I taking a trade at 10:40? My cutoff was 10:30, and I just wasn't looking at the time. Forced a fucking trade here, boys. Forced a fucking trade. Because I was so determined and so set on the fact that sell-side liquidity was going to be taken out, which ended up happening, but that doesn't mean that you should force a trade when you are so set on your buys, especially for a lot of you guys where like you guys haven't developed a full sense of market movements yet, and you guys aren't necessarily fully there as profitable traders yet. Don't be convincing yourself that you know for certain where price is going to go to force yourself into a trade. You just saw somebody that is a profitable trader force themselves into a trade even though they knew where price wanted to go. But even though you know where price wants to go, you still have to wait for an optimal setup, and that just plain and simple did not happen on this trade. So lots of things wrong with this trade. Took it way too late in the day. Not an optimal setup, and plain and simple should have just stuck it out with my $6,000 loss for the day. But that pretty much wraps up all of my trades that I took for the day. I stream all of these trades live on Kick at 9 a.m. Eastern time. If you guys want to watch that, there's a little link in the description. And Mastermind 5.0, where I teach you guys for a full freaking month long, teaching you guys all these concepts that I talk about in the daily recaps. And inside the Kick streams is officially live. So if you guys want a chance to be able to join that, because you guys do have to go through an interview process, there is going to be a link in the description as well. I love and appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.